This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers. Oh, this episode, no, I'm back. Hang on. No, that's the wrong one. I've got it. We're here.
Hello, everybody. Hope you can hear me. Welcome to the Long Run, you by the 40 Runs running community and our friends at Skechers, hopefully. Our main topic tonight is, would you rather be a faster runner or a better runner? What does that entail? And how do you go about it? We'll be talking about that a bit later. But we are here every Friday at 7 o'clock, live on Facebook, hopefully, fingers crossed, this week. Maybe. And YouTube. And we talk about all sorts of things running. And we try and have a few laughs as well. Like I say, that's our main topic tonight. Better runner or faster runner. And my name's Ian Wilson. So let's meet who is joining us tonight. Mr. Chris Ford, who is driving the bus in the absence of Toby this week.
Nearly drove us off a cliff.
Yeah, we nearly drove. We got off to. It's stalled out of the car park, but hopefully we'll be pushing along. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah. Again, I'm on production duty, so I apologise for the start. I'll apologise for the middle bit, and I'll apologise for the ending.
So Chris might be keeping a little bit of a lower profile than he's prone to on a Friday night. But that's okay because we've got two wonderful co-hosts to help us along. Sabrina Ahmed's with us again. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. How you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, good.
You got over the Essex 10K yet?
Oh, don't get us started.
We've got that all to come. And another 40 stalwart, Mr. Hayden Harbord, is joining us.
Legend.
Good down there in Surrey. How you doing, mate?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. A bit hot. I suppose we ought to talk about that because it's going to be about 140 degrees at the weekend.
Perfect running weather conditions.
Absolutely. So, are you going out running this weekend? And what sort of precautions will you be taking that you don't keel over and do yourself in?
Who are you directing that at?
I'll direct it at you first, and then we'll go around the table.
I'm probably the worst person to ask because I'm doing probably the worst thing you could do, which is 18 miles tomorrow. That said, we have taken the precautions. The reason we're doing it is because we picked the worst weekend, I know, but we haven't actually gone long in our training yet. And psychologically, we feel like we need to go get a long one under the belt.
What week are you in now?
Don't know. But there's no point asking you. I think because it's difficult because I'm sort of blending London and Amsterdam. So I could be week 4, week 6, but either way.
Oh, right, I see. Okay.
We've not got long because of where we recovered Edinburgh, blah, blah, blah. So we've been doing plenty of like 13 miles, 10 miles a goal and stuff like that. You have that sort of lack of, I have a lack of confidence over the longer distance. It's always, I think, refreshing to go and try and just make sure you bury that distance. So what we're doing, we've got a route planned. We're going to hit 7 odd miles early up to Park Run. So we have a break, wait for Park Run to start, do that. Have a break because there's toilets up at Gunpowder. Admin's kindly bullied into bringing some water for us. So then we'll replenish our water. We'll tidy up in the toilets. You know, sounds silly, but wash your face over, get rid of some of that sweat, and then drill it home. And then that'll get us our 80 miles. So it's actually probably on paper the worst way to do your 80 miles because it makes it even a longer slog. But we're breaking it up deliberately to make sure that we are getting in plenty of recovery time, plenty of hydration stops, you know, and we're checking ourselves over along the way. So we're trying to do it in a safe way, but at the same time still getting the distance done. So it is what it is. It's going to be a difficult 18 miles. We accept that. But by breaking it up, it's effectively 3 sections. We're hoping we can ride it out.
Yeah, but Sabrina, with your qualified coach's hat on, would you suggest, like Chris seems to be sort of tinkering with his run rather than doing anything radical to change it. Would you recommend that as being the way forward?
Yeah, I think you've got to listen to your body as well, though, and you've got to listen. You'll know whether you can get the miles in and whether you can't. Right? We're every day. Thanks, Chris. For those of you who can't see, Chris is just holding his hand up.
No, I'm showing because someone just put in the comments. Sorry for people on the pod. More sweat marks on the shirt from Chris this week. Yeah, I'm wearing my shirt that changes colour. So I was just showing
the old global Technicolor ones.
Yeah, sorry, carry on, Happy.
No, I was just saying that you've got to listen to your body. You know what you can do and what you can't do. At the end of the day, if you miss a run, it's not going to make any difference. If you cut it short, it's not going to make any difference. And the amount of times recently where we've been at races, whether it be Hackney, Hackney, Southend, etc., where you've seen people keeled over on the sides of the road because they've gone at it too hard. Take the pace down, take the distance down if you need to, but I think being safe is the most important thing. And hydrating, we've spoken about it loads, or you guys have spoken about it loads on here. It's not about just hydrating on your run. You need to start it before. So anyone that's doing long runs or any runs this weekend needs to be taking enough water and fuel from Thursday, Friday, not waking up Saturday morning thinking I'm going to drink 2 pints before I go out. It's not going to help.
Yeah, 2 pints not enough on a Saturday morning, is it?
No, all right, don't get Wilco on the pints. I would just say, sorry, anybody in the thing, I don't know how to do the thing that Toby does with the link and stuff, so we know who you are on Facebook.
So feel free to put your name on the end if you want to shout out. That is also, you can. We have got comments on here, and we will sort of like refer to them if you make them interesting, and we offer any sort of questions and things like that. Then we'll try and do them as the course of the day, because this is not scripted. If you've not been along before, we do fly by the seat of our pants a bit.
Yeah, so
if something interesting comes off, we might go off at a bit of a tangent.
Yeah.
So Hayden, what are you up to the weekend, mate? How are you guarding against throwing yourself to a crisp?
I've got the easiest get out. I'm injured, so I'm on the subs bench. So it's no running for me, let alone long running. Unfortunately, it's tough to take at the moment. But it's one of those things with the weather like this, as you said. There's not a lot you can do anyway. You've all covered what you should be doing, i.e., hydrating, cutting back, even not doing the run. Nothing's gonna ruin your plan if you just give this weekend a miss. But as you said, cut the run back or cut the pace back. Just make it easy. Walk some of it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. We're going to be walking plenty on at the weekend. Yeah. We just don't care. You're absolutely right. If you can cut it this week, do it. Some people like myself, I don't mind running in this. I have no problem with that. That's me. I know how I am. I've been doing this, rodeo long enough that I know what my body's capable of. So but I would strongly suggest if you don't need to run this weekend, don't bother. You ain't going to lose nothing.
Or get up early. Get up really, really early. Go out and do it really, really early. Early doors, you come home feeling better, and it can't physically be that hot before 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah,
exactly. Just wake up, smash out 6 miles, done. You're home and hose, get in the kids' paddling pool, whatever it is. But I actually, Adi, you mentioned your injury. Let's Paul bring the viewers in on that. So, when did you do it? What did you do?
It's hard to pinpoint. I've always, after every marathon, I always take a whole week off. I've always had a whole 7 days off. It's just the way I've always done things. There's always going to be something underlying, I believe, that you just don't know what's there. But when we done the Harp 24, because it was spread over 24 hours, well, 18 hours in the end, I ended up doing 30 miles. Because it was spread out over the time, I didn't really take that in as being marathon distance, even though it was longer. I come straight back into the training on the Tuesday, interval session, and went quite hard.
Ouch.
And haven't felt right since.
What's gone there?
I've seen the physio. I've got a tendon that's just a bit, I think it's just an aggravated tendon. Just at the bottom.
What calf is it, Harold?
No, it's right low, down by the ankle.
Right.
So when I'm walking, sitting down, I don't feel anything. It's just literally when I'm running, when I'm pounding. But the difficult thing is, people keep saying, is it better? I don't know. Until I run, I don't know if it's better. So that was the plan at ASICS at the weekend. Thought I'd have a run out, see what it feels like. It wasn't too bad, but it was still there. So the sensible thing to do, especially with the heat as well, is just take another week off. That's all I can
I mean, where are you in terms of your plan? Because is it Berlin first or Chicago first?
Yeah, we've got Berlin, which is the week before London. So currently on, I believe, week 6.
Right.
So I've missed a couple of weeks. So that's 2 weeks out. I've got another week out, I reckon, at least. So now is a time when I start thinking to myself, I need to make adaptations. It's not 3 weeks. When you miss a day, you can miss a long weekend because of the heat.
Yeah.
Missing 3 weeks from your plan, it's not doable, the marathon. But I need to start being more realistic about.
Are you? Is this sort of like the fact that you've got 2 in them? There's only a couple of weeks between them, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got Berlin and 2 weeks later Chicago.
Does that affect your mindset in respect that, oh well, if I'm not quite ready for Berlin, I could be all right for Chicago? Or do you just push on to try and be right for Berlin and then think, well, if Chicago don't happen, then it don't happen?
Yeah.
How are you looking at it?
No, that's a great call. So I had started to think to myself, maybe the plan would be to do the long, take Berlin really easy and do that as my long kind of last run, and then really have a go at Chicago. Yeah. But I'm thinking now, I think I'm just going to wing it, see how I feel the next couple of weeks, take complete pressure off myself. I've said to Chris before, when you're chasing PBs and doing do them at local races, smaller races, I think the big majors and the big ones, I've got to take my own advice, go out and enjoy them. Don't go out and worry about doing PBs and stuff. Go out and enjoy them races, enjoy the atmosphere. Don't worry about everything else. And now I've got a perfect excuse to maybe cut the training back and do that. So
and not go too mad, and then benefit from perhaps not doing in other areas of your life where you like not turning up on a podcast on your wedding anniversary.
Yeah, that's probably a bit of a schoolboy. Have you apologised? Because you can do it publicly if you want to the 20,000 people that listen to this podcast.
The stage is yours, mate. Away you go.
Off you go.
Lulu, I am very, very sorry. But tonight the podcast has got priority.
Oh, no, I didn't script that. It wasn't on me.
No, nothing. We're not giving it.
She loves me. She's fine.
She ain't got a choice.
You hope.
She's probably behind the camera in a dress, ready to go out, with a clutch bag, ready to go out, right? She's going, come on, mate, hurry up.
Just take a watch.
Yeah.
No, we've been out all day. I was on the M25 coming back, and I was looking at my watch thinking, this traffic better hurry up.
I didn't want to miss it, good lad. I'll be fair, that is dedication, isn't it? Unlike, say, Toby, who's gone away camping with you know who, and they've all gone camping this weekend, sacked us off and said, you know what, admin and Hayden step up. 40 will be all right. Don't worry about it. This is the problem, see? Oh, by the way, has everybody seen the picture on the A610K, good link, admin, A610K Instagram page today? No. There's a picture of Toby's rather large behind with 40 runs printed right big on it. It's a quality. I was tagged today, but he's on there, isn't he, admin? I was sending it to him. I made some, obviously a stronger reference about his behind. But yeah, he's on there. Have a look at him. You'll see the back of Toby. And then someone else commented, tagged me and said, 40 runs. And it wasn't. It was Speedgoat. So I don't know why he's getting mistaken for me. I'm older and more wiser looking. He's sort of young. And
usually about 15 minutes ahead of you.
Yeah, that is true. It's because he was behind me for a change.
I've had it a couple of races where I've had the old camp round. I'm filming. I've got the 40 runs on my back. People come up behind me, tap me. Oh, mate, I've seen your YouTube channel. Brilliant. I turn around and I realised.
It's because we're brothers. I told you we were split at birth, me and you, 100%. Oh, we've actually had some questions. Admin, you're gonna have to step in here because we're getting loads of comments. And thanks everybody who is commenting and putting questions in. We really do appreciate it. And I've got to give a shout out, by the way. I don't know if you've seen Wilco. Firstly, big shout out to everybody who lives in Malta who listened to the podcast last week. Every single person in Malta, all 6 of them listened to the podcast last week to make this the biggest podcast in Malta. So thank you. But also some of the reviews. I don't know if you've seen it, Wilco. Lovely reviews. Yeah, so thanks a lot, genuine. Mean that a lot. Keep them coming in. But I mean, we
just like reviews of any sort really. If there's anything that you've got that you suggest that we should do and things like that, we're quite happy to accept.
Yeah, even if you want us to do something that's absolutely not related to running at all. So we don't really care anymore.
We'll talk about anything. Yeah, we've got nothing to do on a Friday.
Can someone let me know how Rory's getting on in the golf? Thank you. Right, admin, go.
Yeah, so loads of comments about getting up early to go for runs, so 5 a.m. And cutting them back, so doing 5Ks and 10Ks rather than an easy pace rather than hard. There's a question though saying from Gary Howland, who's saying he's struggling to hit heart rate or zone 5 when he's doing interval runs. Just doesn't feel like his legs move fast enough. Got any tips on how to get to that Like
Hayden, you're a bit of an interval guru. Do you want to take that one?
The thing with the heart rate training in itself, it's heart rate training. So it's more your heart rather than your legs moving faster. Your legs moving faster and your pace being faster indirectly should make your heart rate go quicker. But again, it's down to effort. But there's so many other things involved. Is his zone set correctly? Are his zones set correctly? Is he using a chest strap? Is it a watch strap? There's so many other things that can be brought into play with the question. But ultimately, it's just getting that maximum effort. The more effort, if you feel like you're putting in your absolute maximum effort, then you're in zone 5, no matter what your watch tells you or what Garmin tells you.
You're so right. For when it comes to interval training, right, I would actually ignore your zones. If you are giving, and Hayden's on the money in terms of effort, you need to be, it's perceived effort. So if you're absolutely chucking the kitchen sink at that interval, right, and that whole session, so you're done at the end of it, you are spent, you've got nothing left, then I tell you what, I guarantee, don't matter what your watch says, you've been in zone 5. How long you've been in it? Okay, yeah, you can argue that, whatever. But if you are genuinely operating at the top of your ceiling and beyond, you have 100% been in zone 5. So I would go always intervals, perceived effort over heart rate.
Yeah, great. Alan Carrick has just said, do you have any suggestions for hydration jackets, vests and bottles, which in this weather are going to be really important? So
yeah, I did a video. We did one with 3 hydration vests, all for under 100 quid. Check it out on the YouTube channel. There was an Anigi one, cheapo one from Decathlon that Simon swears by, which is extra large. And then we've got what was the one I was wearing? I can't remember what it was. Oh, Harrier one, the Cuba 5 litre. They're all great ones. The Anigi one, the Harrier one.
I think everybody in 40 runs has got an Anigi hydration vest.
Yeah, you know, the Decathlon, to be fair to Si, that's just as good, and it is cheap. Say, you just got to watch the sizing and say he had to go extra large for his. But if you have a look at that,
was that the hydration capacity, or just to get it over your shoulder?
just to get on. So if you have a look at that video, that might help you out. Yeah, I think Hayley, which one have you got? Or do you bother?
Honestly, I've never run in one in my life.
I was going to say that you carry a bottle, didn't you?
Yeah, my long runs or race days, I just use the water that's on course. It irritates me, and it's added weight, it's added baggage. It's something else to think about.
So
I always think on these runs, the less things to think about, the better you're going to perform. So
he ain't got time, this boy. He's done by the time he's like getting thirsty. This is what you got to remember. Remember, he won the Edinburgh Marathon. Remember that, people.
Yeah. I wish.
Right. I mean, what else?
Another one, talking about ballot places or charity places. So this is interesting. So talking about the costs of doing big runs like London Marathon and Great North Run, which are really hard to get into on the ballots. What do people do? Do they go for charity places, or do you just hold out until you get a ballot place?
I mean, the chances of getting a London ballot place are 4% or something ridiculous.
Yeah. So I reckon it's about 40 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got your heart set on doing London, the best thing to do is probably to get. Obviously, you can get a club place. I mean, we do a ballot system within the club. We get 4 places. This year's totally funky in terms of how they're doing it. I've got absolutely no idea because of where everything's deferred. But usually we get 4 places that we ballot off, right? Because of the size of the club. So there's your club places that you can look out for, or the good for age. Like myself and Hayden will be good for age, probably next year. Hayden, no pressure. But we've got that. Or I think genuinely you've got the ballot the charity route to go down. Yes, you've got to stamp up an extortionate amount of money, which is going to go to a very good cause, whatever charity you pick, and they will need that money, some more than others. But there's some amazing charities out there. So pick a charity that's close to your heart that you can raise for, and almost take one for the team that time by raising that money just to do that special race. But then do what Hayden said, enjoy it. Don't try and chase the time. Have the best time of your life. Walk over Tower Bridge. Soak it up at Cutty Sark. Get out of mud shoot as quick as you can. Enjoy Canary Wharf, and that finishing stretch down Embankment. But that's the sort of thing. But yeah, I would say if it's a really special race that you've got your heart on, whether it be the Great North Run, maybe. A lot of people love to do that. It's one of the greatest races in the world. then maybe it is worth getting a ballot, a charity place, because the ballot's so hard. I mean, landmarks, I think most people seem to get in more to that and Royal Parks than some others that I know of, even the Great North Run. I know we're very UK centric here at the moment on the show, but put it in the chat thing about some of the other ballots out there in the world. But for us over here, the London Marathon, you've got no chance unless you're dead lucky. But the others, you ain't got a bad chance. I mean, out of us, right? So Wilco, have you ever been lucky in a ballot?
I got in the ballot for the Great North Run. I got in the ballot for Royal Parks when it was cancelled.
Yeah.
I got in the ballot for the landmarks, and I got in the ballot for this year's Dublin Marathon.
Have you got the lottery numbers? Hayden, what about you? Ever been
Yeah,
lucky?
I got in ballot for Chicago for this year. I got in ballot for Royal Parks. But going back to that, with Great North, the best way to do is sign up for the membership.
Oh, yeah, all day
Oh,
long.
absolutely.
Oh,
yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I've got a membership.
Yeah, 100%. What about you, Admin? Have you ever been lucky in a ballot?
None.
Oh, don't ever go to work at the casino then. Jeez.
0. Wilco stole my places by the sound.
Wilco's taking everybody's places. You should be banned from them ballots, Wilco. I think it's because he's a journalist. He's on the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, friends in high places.
You scratch my back. I'm a media company. All that. I
plenty of enemies in high places, mate. I don't know about friends.
Oh, hang on. Listen, Carl is. Look at this comment. Yeah. Carl is lucky in the ballot. We know who Carl this is. Every single time. London. He got in London. Ride 100. Carl, I'm going to come and give you a big rub because rub some of that luck onto me. How's that?
We're calling Ballot Boy.
Ballot Boy, Carl.
Yeah.
What is this? Hang on. What's this? I saw something else. Is this a trainer question come up?
Yeah, this is trainer. So, talking about the endorphin speed 2, what do you reckon the maximum mileage in them is? They feel like they've lost their pop after about 240 miles. Is it time to upgrade?
Hey, and you got the speed 2s, didn't you?
I got the speed 2s. I trained for Edinburgh in them. I've done more than 200. I reckon about 400 odd miles on in mine, but they've had it now. But yeah, I'd say about 400 I got out of them. Yeah,
you should get good 400 out of them. Yeah. Easy. But I do understand that they do. I won't necessarily say they break down, but they do lose a little bit of zip when you start going into those bigger miles. But yeah, classic example. He's just said he's gone over for one. But sounds to me like you're just looking for an excuse to upgrade. So just do it.
Just spend the money, mate.
Yeah, just buy them. Just go into Wilco's Nike box and get a few 50s out.
That's gone, mate. I had to give it back.
What, the Nike box?
Yeah, bloke came round and said, that box I'll give you. Can I have it back?
What, that collection come round, did he?
Yeah, I never looked in it. I'll just give it back to him.
Don't tell lies. Right, so...
we need to get on to Sabrina's review of the Asics 10K.
Yeah, you want to listen to this, right? If you're listening from Limelight, who are friends of the show, I love you, by the way. This is nothing to do with me, right? And let me just hide this thing up. I don't know.
It's a bit like Blue Peter when they used to make something for your aunt. Oh, it's Father's Day. If your dad's away, your dad's there, just get him to go and sit in the kitchen for a little bit. So if you're from Limelight, just pop away 5 minutes.
Switch off now, and then we'll come back in about 3 or 4 minutes. So, ready? Hayden, put your fingers in your ears. Right, go, Sabrina. How did you find the Asics 10K?
So, firstly, I'm going to caveat this by saying I had a lovely morning run with Petra, right? It was a beautiful day in London. I had a lovely run with Petra. However, Limelight and Asics 10K cost is extortionate, like 50 quid for everyday runners. The cost of living, and if you think the average per family or household earns 30 grand a year in the UK, to be able to spend 50 quid on one day to go and run, not even taking into account travel expenses, food, water, any of that kind of stuff, it is extortionate. 55 quid, right? You've got to pay for them to post your number, and they don't even give you safety pins. Unbelievable. Firstly, their communication is diabolical. Don't ask people with their t-shirt sizes, and then the week of the event, tell them they're not getting a t-shirt. I'm not actually fussed about race t-shirts. I think I've said this before. I'm not one of these people that's bothered about medals being wooden or metal or whatever, right? But it's the fact that don't tell people they're going to get something, and then the week of the event, take that away from them when they paid fair whack for it. They tell you it's a red weather warning the week before, right? We knew it was going to be hot. Everyone knows. And yes, it's on us as individuals to make sure we are looking after ourselves and we've taken into account for that heat. However, they had ample opportunity to put on an extra water station potentially, or think about where those water stations were. So the first one I think was over 6K, and then the second one
6.2, I think.
yeah, and then 9K. By that point, you kind of done. If you've gone at it, you need water. So yeah, and then the bit that took the biscuit for me, and the boys had to hear about this because I was seething as I came across the line. They'll go to give you a bag, a tote bag that's got nothing in it, or I think it had a flapjack in it as Toby went to me. Didn't you take the flapjack out? I was like, no, I gave them the bag back. Because I didn't
I know, you threw the bag back at them.
yeah.
You can actually watch this yourself on the video. I've seen it.
It was live, wasn't it? We got it
was
live.
on the action. And actually, you know, one of the most upbeat people I'd ever met. The look on her face.
Yeah,
he was fuming. So get yourself on YouTube and have a look.
It's because they say we're not going to give t-shirts because of the environment, which fine, if that's your stance on it. However, don't give people tote bags, which are terrible for the environment. You'd have to use a tote bag every day for about 70 years for it to become truly sustainable. So you can't say, I'm not going to give you a t-shirt, but I'm going to give you a tote bag. And most of us, I mean, some of the people running will be lucky enough to have another 70 years in them. Most of us have another 70 years. It's true though. So lovely run, lovely morning out in London. You come over Westminster Bridge and you look at Big Ben and you think, do you know what? There is nothing like running in the city. London is the best city in the world, and there is you truly appreciate it when you kind of go, oh my God, I'm so fortunate to be able to do this. But they can do one, to be perfectly honest.
Right, Hayden, Baggate. What's your input on Baggate?
I agree. The bag is a shocker. Absolutely shocker. It was almost like rubbing salt in the wounds. And the fact it's a big bag and it's got one flapjack thing in it, it's just.
And then you get your own sachets of you know, the hydration stuff, which is actually quite nice, by the way. But you go and then put some sachets in it, and that's it. That was all that was on offer.
So you went down to your little shopping, put it in your
was
bag.
The most pointless bag, right?
It was
ever, because there was just it was like a measly flapjack thing, and then about as many sachets of which was, I'm guessing it was some sort of plasticky foil based product that again talk about sustainability, that you would then take, put it in your bag. It kind of, and the cost, right? Because don't forget, again, being totally impartial, they did say in the email, I didn't realise, by the way, when you signed up, about the fact that you picked your size for your t-shirt. So they clearly were going to give a t-shirt out, but for whatever reason. So I didn't know that. And then they said that. I thought it was always you weren't going to get a t-shirt. So that's even worse. But the fact that they then, I don't know. It's just, where do you stop? You know what I mean? It's like we could just keep having a go at these people, but it is frustrating, right? When it's over 50 quid for a 10K, it is punchy, and yeah, it does. But as I always say, do your talking with your feet, people. But I would say, right, it was noticeably quieter, I would say, than previous years. I agree about the point about the water stations. I think they could have changed it up. On 10K races from England Athletics, as far as I'm aware, you don't have to put water on. So they did put 2 water stations out, in fairness to them. But I do believe they should have put one of those like 3K. You should what common sense would have said 3K, 5K, 7K, right? Again, they probably might not have had the volunteers to put those on, so I appreciate that.
No, they actually gave. There was one extra water station compared to last year.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. The one,
where it was? One extra station was before you went up towards your pens, before the race start. That was their extra water station this year compared to previous years, before you even start the race. Yeah,
so you know they don't have to put it on, but it's always. Whenever I've done it, you've done it as well, Hayden. It's always a hot race, so
always, yeah.
I'm a bit perplexed by that.
It sounds like you all had a whale of a time.
No, but you know what? It is a good race. It is a good event.
It is.
Is it worth the money? No, but as I said, we've gone over this a million times. All the races are going to put their prices up, right? There's nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do about it is do the talking with our feet, people, and do these races. I would say, again, in fairness to them, if you go early bird, It's about 40 quid, 30, 40 quid or something, apparently. Someone told me in the comments on the video that it is cheaper. But still, that said, you know, I think you have to get the membership and all that sort of stuff. So, I don't know. It is all getting a bit
Yeah.
complicated.
Pay €30 to do a half marathon in Ibiza like I did yesterday. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, if you're new to this, there basically in April, the second Wilco.
April the 1st. It's
Yeah,
like that. It's no April Fools. It's
if you are anywhere near Ibiza and you're not running, you need to evacuate the island, because there's about 3 million 40 runners heading your way who will be on it large. So you want to get out of Dodge before they arrive, or, as I actually recommend, join the party, because you'll have a whale of a time.
Yeah, come.
Get on it big time with the 40 Runs crew, celebrating young Hells Bell's 50th. And her jersey, her vest has come through today. She's got a personalised vest with with the Ibiza thing. Because Charlie messaged me and said, can we do a special Ibiza top? So we've done that, and it's got the Pasha, which probably our trademark, so hopefully they're not listening. Thing on it, and so we totally robbed that, and then we stuck that on the logo, and then Hells Bells top's got this massive 50 on the back. You ain't going to miss that. Well, you might do, because she's so bleeding rapid at the moment. She'll be like probably winning it with
She'll be first time anyway.
Yeah. So but yeah, so if you want to sack all the stuff off over here, or if you're listening to this in Malta, which is not a million miles away, or even if you're in Ecuador, because we've got a big following out there and we're still #1 in Hong Kong, you can just fly over to Ibiza and turn it up, and then go clubbing all night. That's what I reckon. Wilco, can I just mention something?
Of course.
It's 31 minutes. Firstly, big shout out Skechers. Do love pair of Skechers. Somebody asked me again about daily trainers. Check out Skechers Go Run Ride 10. But also, it's 32 minutes, and we've not actually spoke about what we was meant to speak about so far in the show.
Well, we've had a great introduction.
Yeah,
but now we can get to the stage where we're going to talk about our main topic there, which you threw out at the end of a chat a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? You said, "Oh yeah, well, it all depends on whether you want to be faster runner or a better runner. What do people think?"
Yeah.
And I mean, I put a question up on the I put a poll up on the Facebook. 90%. Well, two things came out of it. 90% of people said that they'd rather be a better runner than a faster runner. We had about 130 votes. But lots of people said, "What do you mean? What's the difference?" So, Chris, can you sort of like start us off on how you'd interpret the difference between being a better runner and a faster runner?
Okay. Well, firstly, I actually think it's going to screw all those 190 people up. I think by becoming one, you become the other. Anyway, right? Regardless. But by becoming a better runner, I just think firstly, I hope that you enjoy it more, because you learn the pitfalls and you understand the pitfalls, that you don't go out and do every run at 3,000 miles an hour and get injured. You don't go out, and do silly mileage because somebody on Strava or other running based apps is doing silly stuff. And you learn about your form, you learn about your pacing, you learn about your race and running craft, you learn about your hydration. And overall, as you learn and go through your journey as a runner, you become a better runner, because like anything, you get more experience and say you learn from it. So I personally would much rather be a better runner in terms of learning through my mistakes that I've made through training and races and stuff like that. But I do think that then has a positive effect. And again, you might not be running to get faster. You might be running because, because of your mental health, because you want to lose weight, whatever, right? But I would say the side effect, but the outcome of becoming a better runner is usually the fact that you become a faster runner, because you train better. The balance in which you train is better. The sort of level and flow, the ebb and flow, of your training gets to the point in which you're able to then maximize those higher efforts, those tougher sessions. We talk about intervals. If you're attacking those, you've learned, what to do in them. Like Gary, I think it's Gary, we've said to you, it's effort based. So again, you learn that sort of craft and becoming a better runner. You're going to max those sessions. You're going to become fitter. You're going to become faster because of that. You might not want to get faster. but it's usually a byproduct of you becoming a better runner. So that's where I was trying to go with it, if that makes any sense.
It seems like it is part of it's doing the actions to become a better runner. Will be one is the method, and the other one is the result.
Yes,
you see what I mean?
Yes.
Because lots of people said, they were talking about better runner in terms of because what the time is on your watch is only a certain component of it. What they're saying was, like Donna said, I'd rather be a happier runner, just to enjoy my runs. And
that's what I said at the front end. Yeah, exactly. It's becoming a better runner. I think is getting out of it what you want to get out of it ultimately. So, like again, if you're looking to run to improve your mental health and it is helping your mental health, then you are becoming a better runner because you're getting out of it what you want. If you want to run because you enjoy that, or because you like to be competitive, or because you're losing weight, and then you start to see those results come through, then you are becoming a better runner. So I think some of the training plans I do and the coaching I do for people is actually based around that methodology of let's not worry about times. Let's try and focus on getting you becoming a better runner. So whether it's more consistent, or we focus a little bit more so you're a little bit more controlled in your pacing, or that you're not doing really high efforts. Let's try and switch a little bit to that so it blends all the other stuff out, and we focus a little bit more on that instead of the end goal of I've got to complete London Marathon. It depends on where you're at. You as a coach, you're always trying to help the runners become better runners, but for whatever reason they want to do, whether it is literally so they can enjoy it, to stay injury free, to lose the weight, to get
it's
faster.
interesting you should say about injury free was something that came up quite a lot with people. It's almost as if it wasn't just necessarily interpreted as being better runner in a sort of physical sense. It was talking about perhaps being more savvy, more knowing more about gaining through the experience of stuff like that, like being able to prevent themselves from being injured as well. Because the other issue is, of course, that time ticks along. None of us are getting any younger, and we will get to a stage where doing your fast time, you're not going to be running as fast as you were 5 years ago. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and he's right. He's saying you're not getting any. Well, we're all getting older, so just enjoy it. And it's funny. Matt runs 18, I think, on YouTube. Said it's mad how we beat ourselves up over minutes and seconds, and it's so true. In the grand scheme of things, if I look back and think about the first run I ever went on, the first FORDY run. FORDY, remember, turned up on
I was there.
Yeah, Christmas and New Year. I had signed up for London Marathon, and I'm like, I've got a marathon place, and they're like, okay, where are you at in your training? Oh, I've just started. I couldn't run before then. Turned up on a Wednesday night, and they're probably like, how is she going to get round a marathon? But you look back then and go, I was run walking, and for me, it was like, even at that point, okay, being a better runner was, am I starting to be able to run for more, a longer period of time than I'm walking for? Am I feeling better? Oh, wrist.
I just remember saying I should have asked at the front of the show, and I just totally jumped all over admin. She's going to shoot me. But I forgot to say at the front end of the show. I wanted to ask everybody something, and I've just remembered what it is. Can I say it now, Wilco or Hayden? Yeah. Oh, by the way, if everyone's asked about 8 times why we put Hayden, it's because Hayden's here on his anniversary. So we're trying to rub it in that he's here on his anniversary, so that his better half sees that he's actually, he's done this deliberately.
Yeah, appreciate that.
No, can I say it with Hayden?
Yeah, if you don't forget.
Yeah, and then you can carry on what you're talking about. Sorry. I want to know, really random, if you're listening to this live, all 10,000 of you, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, can you email in? What is it, Wilco?
Oh, yeah, we've got an email address. It's longrunshow@gmail.com.
Yeah. Can you email in? Who do you follow, apart from Hayden, on TikTok as runners? Yeah. Can you let us know, apart from Hayden, because you should all be following Hayden on TikTok. Can you let us know who on TikTok you watch as runners? Really random question. There is a reason. We'll come on to it another week, month, whatever. But just let us know. Email in somethingtiktok.com. Right. Sorry. What was you talking about?
We're talking about being a better runner and how
yeah.
Not TikTok starting.
So how did you? So when you started, what were the initial steps that you did to sort of like become a better runner? You were saying that you were doing more sort of like bigger proportions of your stuff was running and walking, and it seems gradual, very gradual thing.
Yeah, but the biggest thing I did was go and join a club because I didn't know what I was doing, right? So I was like, I don't know if I'm in the, I don't know if I was in the right shoes, if I was even in running shoes. I just had a pair of trainers that I went, all right, they look like they'll do. I'll chuck them on and hope for the best, right? And I say it genuinely, the best thing I did was go and turn up to a club, because suddenly it's not just the coaches that you get advice from, but everybody else was like, oh, I've been there, don't worry. I felt like this. And yes, we're all different. And sometimes you need to take other people's advice with a pinch of salt, unless it's coming from someone that's qualified. But because otherwise, because you can get really bogged down in 10 different people telling you 10 different things, and that can become really overwhelming. So you have to be careful where you get advice and how often and those kind of things. But actually just having other people to learn from and to kind of guide you on that journey. And hence why I then qualified to become a coach, because knowledge is power. And if I can help myself and then help other people as part of it.
Do you think that's made? Do you think? I mean, you've done your courses and stuff. I mean, you only qualified a few weeks ago, but you did your courses and everything. Do you think that has? How do you think that has helped you improve your own performance?
Oh, way better, because you notice things that you didn't notice before. So my form, thinking about where my arms are, thinking about my foot stride, thinking about my posture, thinking about so as part of your training, you've got to write a plan. And you think about, God, well, actually, in my plan, what am I doing? If I'm telling other people to do this, kind of 80% easy effort, 20% hard effort, am I really following this guidance and these rules as well? So you learn to take some of your own advice. You also learn to relax a bit more, because you can't. One of the things I teach you when you're coaching, and Chris, you'll know this better than I do, and you say this to us as well when we do our sessions, you're like, just focus on this one thing. So when we say to you, like Tuesday night when I was like, just focus on keeping your bodies upright, you can't change everything overnight. You can't think, there's plenty of things that you can try, but picking off one thing that might help, seeing what that does before you try and change your pace, your foot stride, where your arms are.
Yeah.
It's too much. So I think it's about figuring out. And if you get a coach, what they tend to do is figure out, right, what's the one thing that's going to make the biggest impact and the biggest difference? How do you work on that first? See what that does. Go over your 6-8 week cycle, and then, right, okay, where are we at? Reassess and go again.
Usually it's just uncomplicating things.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. You get runners come to you and their brain's like a minefield, because they've got all this stuff. Oh, I've got to run this time, and I've got to do this long run, and I've got to get these in, and I've been told to run 6 times a week, but then I need to go to the gym 20 times a week. Oh, but on Strava, everyone's doing 800,000 miles, and I need to be running a lot quicker. So the first thing you do, and the easiest thing you could do as a coach is basically unburden them and just take literally everything away and go, just run a bit slower. And then immediately like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
And that's how you start. And that's absolutely right. And then you just focus on whatever that is, whether it's putting a little bit more effort into a hard session, or making sure you're more consistent over a long run, or it literally is just to get them to be consistent. And it doesn't matter who you are as a runner, as we always say, the benefits of putting some consistency into your training, even if it's just getting out there and running 2-3 times a week. Yeah. And you're running half hour every day or whatever. It doesn't matter, but it's just getting that consistency, because then you could. I would just like to point out to everybody who's watching live, check it out. Changing colour. Just put that out there. Beautiful.
Hayden, what's your experience then, mate, in this? Do you find ways to, you're a decent runner yourself. Did you sort of like make big steps initially, and how do you look to improve on what you're up to?
I think the answer is like in the question, it's almost like, how do you measure when you've become a better runner? Yeah. What is the measure? And the problem with the question is 90% of the time, people are going to say to you, I've got faster.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the two questions sort of intertwine. If you said to someone right now, who's a better runner, Mo Farah or Kipchoge? Most people are going to say Kipchoge. Why? Because he's faster. He holds a world record. It's measuring the performance. That's the difficulty. And you need to set yourself goals to say to yourself, the most simplest one is, at the moment, I can't run. I want to be able to do a 10K in 6 months' time. Then you become a better runner, and you're measuring your own performance against that benchmark. The problem is most people measure performance against time. It's just the easiest way to do it. So then it becomes, you think you're a better runner because you're faster. So it's a really difficult thing, and it's a personal thing as well.
And then you do have to take an account, I could be, there could be people who feel that they are a better, stronger runner when they're 50, but not getting the same times as they were when they were 30.
Yeah, that goes back to what I'm saying. That's their own personal measure. Their own personal measure is they know that they're going to finish that 5K, 10K marathon feeling better than they did 5 years ago. And they think, I've achieved my goal, I've become a better runner. I've comfortably run that marathon, whereas 5 years ago, that was really, really hard. So that's a good measurement for yourself. It's setting yourself their measurements to make yourself a better runner.
I suppose becoming a better runner becomes more of sort of like feeling like you're improving personally. Just like in your, you always say, oh yeah, I feel a better person, because then that suggests, that's not for you to say, if you're, oh, I'm a better person, that's for other people perhaps to judge, but you may feel that you're better. You might feel better physically, you might think you're in better shape, you might think you're in better mental condition and stuff like that, regardless of what times that you're running. And I think that really came out in the survey, that people wanting to feel happier, they want to feel that they're doing something, they want to feel motivated, and they're not particularly worried about what times they run.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. One of the big measures I feel as well is it's knowledge. I think the more you know about running, the more you find out about running, that's got to be the number one goal. The more you know about it, the better the runner you'll become. And you find out things by reading, watching podcasts, listening to people's channels, following other people, going to coaching sessions. The more you learn, the more you become a better runner. That goes without saying.
Yeah, I think, Chris, that's true. And if you're inquisitive and you want to improve, then there's so much more out there now, and it's so much easier to do that than it was perhaps 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, I mean, firstly, when you said survey, the first thing I thought was survey said, and then like that thing. So just put that out there, right? There is other programs you can watch. Yeah, you're right. There is a lot of stuff out there. There's like 400 million podcasts all about running, right? Some of them are absolute toilet, some of them mediocre like this. There's about 6 billion books out there. Again, some of them written by radio personalities who aren't qualified to write those books. Yeah. There's training plans out there from media companies written by people who aren't qualified to write those, but people still lap them up. I won't mention that. But there's also really good knowledge out there from people who've been doing this game for a long time. Alan's a really good person about this because he listens to a lot of podcasts and stuff and reads a lot more stuff about, in general. There is a lot of good information out there. There's some good publications out there. Runners World, they do a very good podcast with, really good, high quality, highly qualified guests on. They don't necessarily chase, the celebrities like you get on some of these other podcasts just to get ratings and viewers. But they actually have people on there who, like they have the head coach of England Athletics on there and stuff like that, where there is value to be had listening to that because there's plenty of experience and plenty of advice there to be had. So, yes, there is a lot more information that you can source and you can learn about your craft and your sport. Because, again, you've got to remember, a lot of 90% of us, I exclude Hayden from this, we're amateurs, yeah. We do this because it's our hobby, it's a sport, for whatever reason. Like I said, mental health, get fit because we want to meet people, social, blah blah blah.
Yeah. This is a great point. Somebody, if I just cut you off, mate. There's comments just come through here from Facebook. It's not got a name on it, but I think it's quite a good point. It says, I do think I was a better runner when I first started running compared to how I am now. I think I now overthink running, statistics, technology. When I first started, I just ran and enjoyed it.
Yeah, and that goes back to our podcast last week about running apps. One of them, with an orange logo. I think that's been a curse to a lot of people. You've got incredible technology. I've got a Garmin 955 down there that's just got can literally clean the dishes downstairs. It's got that much stuff on it, right? It is, too much. There is a lot to be said for running naked, without your watch and just going back to enjoying it. Do a social run like we've done at club, where it's literally just a chatty run just to enjoy it, like what Hayden did the other night. Everyone went to the pub, get back to what's
We never go to the pub in Hartford. He never takes us to the pub.
No, but get back to what's important about it. But answering your point, Wilco, yes, in terms of 10 years ago, purely through the power of social media and online content, there is a lot more accessible material to learn and get better. Although, like I gave you those examples, some of it is absolute took. So take it with a pinch.
Have you got any? That was from Lee Radcliffe from Basingstoke. Thanks for that, Lee. That was a cracking question. To that end, Chris, how easy is it for people to separate the wheat from the chaff and know what's good advice and what's they shouldn't listen to?
I mean, you look who's written it and where it's come from, and you see that where the source is, and again, you listen to stuff. We quite openly say on this channel, on this podcast, we're not, elite runners. We're not people who run certain times. We're not. Yeah, I'm a coach and I'm an qualified athletics coach, but I am relatively inexperienced compared to people out there. Don't take my word for it. There's people out there with a lot of experience, but there's also people out there who are claiming to know stuff that they simply aren't qualified to give that. That's not to say that there's people who have run multiple, distances, times, and they've got a lot of experience. They've been through a lot of training blocks and they understand, and they're only giving their opinion. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I would just say, always take it with a pinch of salt. There's people out there trying to make money off of Instagram, right, or off of YouTube channels, and they're media companies, and they're putting stuff out there to make money, and you've got to remember that. So going with your eyes open in terms of what information you're sourcing. That's not to downplay people, because it's great thing is with running, everybody's got an opinion. We've all been through different experiences. We're all different individuals, human beings, and we've all got an opinion, and it's all valid. So just, I
would say as well that you can, obviously there's lots of technical advice, but there's a lot of sort of like entertaining stuff as well out there as well that you can.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've gone a bit deep today, but the reason we like to cock about and have some fun, and I think that's the most important thing about what we do. Again, it's a hobby, it's a pastime. It should be fun. If you're out there and you're slugging your guts out and it's making you miserable, why are you doing it? You might as well go and watch cricket. Do you know what I mean? What's the point? So. You just got to enjoy what you're doing and become a better runner by having fun. I think that for me is the number one thing. If anybody who's having fun, what they're doing is usually doing it in their own mind. So they're having the best time of their life, and that's all that matters. And then that's the way I think to become a better runner, is just to enjoy what you're doing, because then all that other noise and BS that surrounds it goes away because you're just having fun. Yeah. That's my view.
This is what we try to do down at the Surrey thing. People might see a lot of the posts and they see us. We play games. We don't have traditional where we meet up at a track and do 400 interval sprint sessions. We play games. We try to integrate the running session within the game, so it becomes a bit of fun. People are having a laugh. They stop and they talk halfway, and they forget about what they're actually doing, how much effort they're putting in. It just becomes fun, and they go home. They've enjoyed it, but they're still getting the benefit in absolute full. And that's definitely the way forward for your everyday runner. So
I just answered Luke's question. Sorry, Aiden. He says, "Yeah, you rate sketches for you, so people can say about you." Yeah, I know people say that about me, but the thing is, the difference is, I don't care, right? I'm pretty open face value, right? Hopefully, you realise that by now. I quite openly say that I'm inexperienced in terms of coaching versus some of the other people, right? In terms of shoe reviews, I don't know what I'm talking about. You watch some of those reviews I make; they're terrible. I know what I'm talking about. All I'm telling you is what it's like from my own personal opinion. And that's the important thing. And that's where I'm totally transparent. This is only me saying this. And I'll say it in everything I do, even on here, it is just me. And I don't know why people are interested. It's lovely that people are, but it's only me. And what do I know? So, yeah, all right. I've done the qualifications, and I've rated a few shoes and this and that and whatever. But just because I say it don't matter. So, yeah, I don't care. People will say that, and they're totally entitled to. So I'll make you right.
Well, I have a bad word about Skechers. They're my favourite trainers at the moment.
Oh, there you go. So straight in there. Well done, Admin.
Yeah, I came on here a year ago and was like, who would buy a pair of Skechers?
It was, I'm not 60. That's what you said. I'm not
Yeah.
60. I don't wear fake sketches. No,
To the point where I sent the boys a link the other day and went, "Oh, they've got them in pink now. Do you think I should buy another pair?"
We need to get Hayden in sketches. That's our next mission. Max Rhodes.
Can I
Max-
just drop? We've just got an email on the subject that we were talking about from Lindsay Paul. Thanks for sending it in, Lindsay. She said, "I'd love to be a faster runner. Being a mum of 2 young children and a bonus mum of 2 teenagers plus work, etc. I have very limited running windows. Becoming a faster runner would enable me to fit in longer runs as part of my training plans. Because my current long run pace around 9.15 miles, I just can't have enough time to do the 20-mile plus runs." So yeah, that's obviously so people can be motivated to be faster by doing so many different things, can't they? And for so many different reasons.
Yeah. We've had a question actually.
Oh,
go on.
Super Chappy 1992. So this is about shoes, but question: carbon plated shoes, cheating or not? What are your thoughts? So
Hayden's good to answer this because he lives. Hayden, right? He actually sleeps in Alpha Flies. Ask his poor wife, who's not even allowed to go out on her anniversary. Ask her, Lulu. Get asked definitely compensation. New pair of Alpha Flies. Ask Hayden because he sleeps in his. Go on, Hayden.
this
I've
guy,
actually promised the fact our anniversary that I won't wear them to bed tonight. I'm gonna have a night off.
so this guy said that he had a recent chat at his club session, and he was shocked to hear that some runners refuse to wear them as they believe it gives you too much of an advantage come race day.
The sentiment of that is nice. I sort of understand it, but it's life and times and technology, and it's like a cyclist saying, "I'm not going to get the best bike out there. I'm going to go and ride a bike that's got stabilizers on or it's got a basket on the front in the Tour de France." You're not going to do it. You're going to use the best thing to enhance your performance. And these shoes, like they do that. They do that. They can't. They're not cheating. They're allowed. The minute they're banned from England athletics, like they were at one point, then that's fair enough to take that stance. But they're allowed. There's nothing cheating. Every main professional at the A6 10K last weekend, majority of people got carbon plated shoes on. It's the way of the world. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's out there, so why not use it?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? It's not cheating. Again, everybody's allowed to do what they want. No one's putting a gun to your head and saying you must run in carbon plated shoes. Otherwise, you know what I mean? And it's personal choice. If you've got 275 quid to go and dump that on a pair of Alpha Fly 2s, crack on. If you've not got that, but you still want to buy a pair of, A6 Magic Speeds and they're 140 quid, crack on. It's up to you, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's not cheating. It's there. It's there for everyone to buy. If you want to run in them all the time, you do. If you want to buy a pair of Crocs, 5 quid from Primark and run in them, crack on. But if you are going to do that, can you send the video in to me? Because I'd love to put it on the YouTube channel.
What about if you only put 60% effort in? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Then?
Does anyone know anyone who puts 60% effort in?
Hold on. He went to 65 this week. Give him.
Yeah, he did.
65-ish.
To be fair, he did go up just probably a fraction under 65% this week at club. He was blowing when he admin.
It was not. But this is what happens, you see. It's like your heart rate, your effort level and in the 60% scale will naturally go up when the weather's hotter.
So what you're saying is technically you're still within your threshold of being at 60%. It was just the heat.
I can sleep easy at night, mate. No.
So, hashtag 60%. Oh dear. Have we got anything else in it?
Have we got time for one more question if we've got any? Oh, I saw one about medical certificates in France.
Yeah, so Glenn Clooney was saying, do you think you should have a medical certificate for running marathons like they do in France? I didn't know that.
It's true.
I would say no. Personally, I would say, from my opinion, if you're in a position where you're not feeling great, you're not fit, you're not well, your doctor's advising against it, you've obviously had to seek medical advice, then and don't do it. That said, pot kettle, I refer back to my London trip last year. But yeah, I mean, do you show an exemption in terms of? No, I don't think it is. I think we're all grown ups, so we all make decisions based, what we perceive as sensible decisions. I don't think you need to, because you should be sort of making grown-up decisions. I don't know if it's right or wrong.
It's a very personal thing, isn't it? I mean, I would suggest that I think it would become a burden on doctors who've got enough things to do to then get handing out.
Yeah, you would rather them save people who've got like
yeah,
cancer
I'd rather they were looking at that sort of thing. But what I would say is that when I'm looking at an April marathon and until I go to Paris, that did put me off. The fact that I thought, I've got to go to the doctors, I've got to get a certificate, and I don't, it will point me to going somewhere else. So that's what I think about it.
Yeah, but I think if something doesn't feel right, whether it be a niggle, an injury, or it could be potentially something else, FORDY, we've learned from you, and get yourself checked. So I think it's about being sensible, isn't it?
If you're bleeding every day, a pint of blood through your nose and other areas, I would probably recommend seeking a doctor and listening to their advice. I'll just put that out there. Okay.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to be in that position, would you? Yes. Right. So we've done an hour. So I'm sure people are fed up with us. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on the long run. Wilco, we've got to let him go now. Haven't we really? Hayden, should we let him off early?
Yeah, Hayden, if you want to go now, get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah. You'll probably be there in time for the sort of eaten mess or the tiramisu, Your steak's in the dog.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
We're all
we
good.
appreciate you coming on. We do.
Yeah.
No problem. Enjoyed it. Always great.
Oh, thanks, mate. It's great to see you. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Big news next week. Next week, we have the speedy Ben Felton of Ben is Running is coming on, and he's going to talk about, he recently did his first marathon in Copenhagen, so he's going to be talking about the things that he wished he'd have known before he did his first marathon. So I'm sure there are lots of you out there who can relate to that. So if you've got any sort of questions for him or any observations on that subject, please email longrunShow@gmail.com during the week, or you can get in touch with us on the FORDY Run Facebook community. Thank you very much. Join us every week on Facebook and YouTube at 7 o'clock on Fridays, or you can download us because we put out as a podcast on your favourite podcast provider of choice, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, etc. Thank you very much for our sponsors, Sketches. Please send us an email, longrunshow@gmail.com. Thanks to Sabrina. Thanks to Hayden. Thanks to you, Chris. Not done too bad a job on pressing the buttons, actually.
But I've not done. Oh, hang on, we've got a big echo. See, I've cocked that up. I've not done the outro yet, so I'm just pre-warning everybody. If it cuts off or we get something, it's not my fault. It's Toby's.
Yeah. So he's done all right so far. We'll put it that way. So we're going to have to run those titles and put them to the test. So we will see you next week. Enjoy your running. Stay safe. Drink plenty of water. We'll see you next week. Thanks very much.
See ya.